welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Sacred Union Energy Update. Tonight is the full moon in Gemini. It is the last full moon of 2022, so I thought we would just do a quick check-in now ahead of this full moon while we're in this full moon energy. And then either tomorrow or the next day, I think we'll do a check-in to see how the energy has shifted, what this full moon has really brought in. So we're going to do some follow-ups, but I just wanted to do a quick check-in today and see what's going on, especially for the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So there's been a lot that I've been personally experiencing this week, a lot of healing for myself. I've had some really powerful healing sessions, diving deep and unhooking a lot of beliefs, shifting a lot of patterns and beliefs that I held deep in the core of myself, and really feeling that energy release. And that's really what this full moon, this last full moon of the year, is all about. It's about releasing the old energy. Anything that you don't want to carry into the new year, you're allowing yourself to release it. For some, there could even be some healing of mother wounds. There could be healing of anywhere where you were set in stagnation, anywhere where you were repressing, especially repressing. I'm hearing communication, communication being really an important aspect of this full moon. So with this as well, the full moon is conjunct or aligned with Mars, and Mars is the planet of, well, it's aligned with Aries, which is all movement, action energy. There's a lot of fire energy about that. So it's a lot of motivation, and I'm also getting inspiration. So you might be feeling, well, you might be feeling a lot. That's what they're saying now. You might be feeling a lot, depending on where you are in your journey and what you're releasing and what needs to be released. You can be on either end of the spectrum. If you've been kind of in some resistance to the healing journey, or if there's been some challenging aspects to your journey, then you could be feeling a lot of that emotional release. Where you might be feeling some of the anger and irritability that the greater global collective seems to be kind of encompassing right now, because the greater global collective is going through this ascension as well and going through this experience of this release. And so there might be some irritability, there might be some anxiety that's coming up. Or you could be on the other end of the spectrum where you're doing a lot of the releasing, and it's, like I said, for myself, it's like unhooking old beliefs and old patterns, and kind of like a liberation kind of energy is coming through. So take it as it resonates for you. Do not judge yourself. Allow yourself compassion, and that might be something to release as well. Release that judgment of your past version of yourself, where maybe you criticized yourself, maybe you were unkind to yourself, maybe you judged yourself in that harsh way for your emotions or for your experiences or for whatever it is that you're feeling. Let that be something that you release, part of the past that you release. I'm also getting an energy of inspiration. So I do feel like this full moon is kind of setting the stage for the year to come, especially as we're moving into the new year. I am running a 2023 year ahead reading. That is the only reading that I am offering right now for the end of the year. It is a very in-depth reading, and we're going to be doing a collective 2023 year ahead reading over on my sister channel, Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, closer to the end of the year. So make sure that you're subscribed over there so you're checking that out as well. So I've been receiving a lot of downloads, I guess you could call, insight. There's been a lot of energy moving, and I've been receiving a lot of really interesting signs, synchronicities for the ascension journey as a whole. I want to talk about them for a minute. This morning, I actually woke up and I had a song downloaded in my head, and I don't know who it is, so hold on, I have to check it out really quick. And what was interesting about it was I had looked it up. You know what? I don't know who sang this. Okay, I got it. I had to look it up, and because I had specific lyrics in my head that I was playing in my mind, but the lyrics were actually wrong, and it was interesting. I don't feel like that was by mistake. You know, sometimes we hear what we need to hear versus what we want to hear. Sometimes we interpret lyrics or books or paintings or visuals or music or whatever it is, sometimes we interpret it based on our personal experiences or what we need to receive versus what it actually is. It's all for a divine reason. So the song is If the World Was Ending by J.P. Sachs and Julia Michaels. And the lyrics that I was hearing, let me say that the lyrics that it actually is. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night. It's an awesome song. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night. But actually, what I was hearing was something different. I was hearing, if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and we'd make it right. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and we'd make it right. And I said, wait a minute, that can't be right. That's not the right lyrics. So then I looked it up, and obviously I was wrong, but that's the energy that I was receiving along with that song download. And it was this energy of reconciliation. It was this energy of wanting to make things right. This energy of not wanting to be apart from each other because the love between you is so great, and the recognition that the love is so great. So it really applied to sacred union. Now apply that to your connection as it resonates for you, but it really did feel like this reconciliation energy. Then, also last night, I'm up at like 2, 3 in the morning because I have trouble sleeping right now. And I live where there's a lot of farmland, not directly around me, but in the general vicinity, there's farmland. But I don't hear farm animals, except for last night. I kept hearing cows mooing. And I swear I was hearing that. I took my dog out and I swear I was hearing cows. And even when I went to bed, I swear I was hearing cows. And I was like, what the heck is going on? I said, am I going crazy? That's not the first time I would think that. Would people think I was crazy if I asked around? That's not the worst thing that people could say about me or have said about me. But there it was cows. And so something said, Susan, just look up what cow spirit animal means. And so I did. And the cow totem, it says, just a quick Google search, I didn't even dive deep into this. It says, the cows supply a sense of stability and solid, loving, growth-oriented relationships with self, others, and the environment. And then there was also something else about that. It was, the cow brings qualities of generosity and nurturing to our spiritual quest. She symbolizes the abundance of the universe. Bless you, Moxie. She symbolizes the abundance of the universe and calls those who work with her energy to trust that their needs will be met. The cow teaches us to give and receive with an open heart. And what does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like everything that we've been channeling? Doesn't that sound like everything that we have been talking about the flow of give and receive, especially between sacred partners, especially within your own energy field, allowing yourself to open up to not only your own nurturing energy, but allowing yourself to receive that from others. There's a certain sense of intimacy. There's a certain sense of connectedness that's coming in here. There's a certain sense of trust and faith, both in yourself, in your journey, and your connection to God or the universe coming through here. So it was extraordinarily coincidental, if you could call it that, synchronistic, and just really, it felt like, it just felt extremely powerful. There were a lot more, and I can't remember. I sat down to do this. There were certain aspects that I wanted to point out, certain synchronicities and profound moments that I experienced over this past couple of days that I wanted to point out, but I can't remember what they are at this time, because there was a lot more. As they come back to me or as I receive more, I will certainly share those in other videos going forward. But those were the main two that wanted to come through. So we'll just stick with those for now. And let's take a look and see what's going on for the connection as a whole. And take it as for your inner masculine and feminine as well. I'm being really called to say that even if you're in connection with a divine masculine, or if you're a divine masculine in a connection with a divine feminine, make sure that you're taking this energy, this reading. It really feels important to take it as both your inner masculine and feminine as well, because you're coming into that inner union for yourself. You're really anchoring that in. And so it feels like allow yourself to resonate with both for whatever it is, whatever message you need to hear. Okay, so let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine with this full moon. We have the Void. It's interesting. Last week, we experienced so much energy from the Divine Masculine. And I was receiving so much. My masculine felt like he was like viscerally there with me in many different ways. Like, it felt like he was part of my energy field. It felt like I was going to pick up the phone and he would be calling, which don't know how that's possible right now, but it felt like I would turn around and see him. There was even a point where I was driving and I could have sworn that I saw him walking on the sidewalk. And I actually like had to like do a double take and look back, and it wasn't him, but it could have sworn that it was him. So it feels very, speaking of, there was a phone call, not him, but there was a phone call. It feels very visceral, or it felt very visceral. Appearing in dream state, even if he wasn't at the core of the dream, his energy was always there on the periphery. I was receiving a lot of downloads, a lot of insight. We've talked about this on the past couple of Sacred Union Energy updates. All the energy readings from last week especially, go back and check those out. Remember, all of my readings are meant to be timeless. And I was reminded as well that my readings have layers in them. The client readings, the personal readings that I do, as well as the collective readings, they all have layers. So especially as they're meant to be timeless, I myself have gone back to old readings from years ago, and they still have some kind of resonance, or they still have some kind of message that is important for my journey at this time. But trust your intuition as far as which readings to listen to or rewatch, or whichever it is that you're guided to. Trust your intuition to what you're guided to. But it felt like I was reminded that these readings have layers. So allow yourself to go back and watch them again, or take what resonates for you now and see if it'll apply in a little bit of a different way a little bit later. Okay, so that being said, it was very visceral energy, but this week it feels like that energy has pulled back a little bit. He doesn't feel as present, not lacking, but he doesn't feel as present, and I feel like it's because this void kind of energy. I don't feel like they're necessarily in a void. I'm getting hermit energy. I feel like they are processing a lot, like the Divine Masculine is healing a lot, like they are really going deep within themselves. And I feel like it's because of this full moon that is drawing all that out. Remember, these cosmic energies are here to support us. They might seem challenging sometimes, but look at it through the lens of God's love. Look at it through the lens of that support, because that's what it really is here for. It is here to support you on your soul growth journey. All right, let's see what's going on for the Divine Feminine first before I continue with this. What's going on for the Divine Feminine with this full moon? Also they're beginning a new cycle, and I feel like that's part of this void energy. Is there's this ending that's happening, and again, endings and beginnings happen simultaneously. And it feels like that void is kind of like a transition energy. I'm kind of feeling the masculine saying, I don't really know what direction I'm going in, but I know I'm headed somewhere. I don't know what direction I'm going in, but I know I'm headed somewhere, which is very different energy than they had been in the past, where it felt kind of directionless and aimless, and Spirit's coming through and saying, that's the Divine Masculine energy. That's the conscious masculine energy. Conscious masculine energy has a sense of direction. Even if they're not able to see so far ahead, even if they're not able to see the full picture, they have some sense of direction, some kind of understanding of where they're going. And that's where they take the lead for themselves. That's where they take the lead for their life, is they have an idea of that sense of direction. So it feels like there's almost like I'm hearing they're stepping one foot in the void and one foot out of the void, by which I mean, even though it feels kind of like a void like energy where they're going deep within themselves, and a hermit energy kind of withdrawing from the world right now to process all of this as they're releasing the old, they know that they're stepping into the new. They know that they're going forward in their life. They know that they're creating a new chapter for their life, in essence. So it's actually a very interesting energy. We're going to see how this carries over into the next reading a few days from now, but this is a very interesting energy. I don't usually do these readings right on the full moon because the energy is shifting so much. So this is a really interesting energy. It'll be interesting to see how it shifts. All right, feminines. Divine feminine. Wow. The masculine. I just got a huge pulse within my heart chakra. It's almost like the masculine is anchoring in. There's this merged energy that is really being felt, and I feel like it's being felt between both of you. Remember when I said that the masculine is very visceral? That's what this feels like. It was interesting because I felt like there was more that I wanted to say about my own experiences as I was speaking about the masculine, but all of a sudden it's like they pulled back. And now that they're bringing this card through, it's like, yes, it's about the feminine, not so much about the masculine. I was speaking with a friend of mine who I haven't spoken with. She's been part of my journey for a very long time, but we haven't spoken for a couple of weeks now, just because we've both been very busy. But we were talking, and I was telling her how I don't feel any lack within my connection, and how where in the past I would have focused on the 3D and everything that seems just kind of like a clusterfuck in the 3D. Everything looks like it's upheaval. Everything looks like it's turned on its head. Where it felt like my masculine and I, had been living together. We had been, working together. We had been trying to move forward together. But there was a lot of unhealthiness there. There was a lot of toxicity there, not because of who we are, not because of who he is, not because of who I am, but because we were acting out of our pain, both of us. And it's almost like we didn't know how to unhook from that. And so it led to some unhealthiness within our connection. It was almost like the separation was a gift for us to have that time to process, have that time to grow, have that time to expand within ourselves so that we can come back in a healthier way, because we just couldn't do it. We just could not do it together in that way. Because we just kept triggering each other and projecting onto each other, and we just kept getting caught in a loop, and we just couldn't break free from that as much as we tried and as much as we wanted to. And that's not putting the blame on anybody in the connection. It's just what was happening, and we just couldn't break free from that. And so where we were once living together, now we're in complete physical perceived separation where he has blocked me. But that actually feels like it was divine intervention, and maybe even a gift with regards to my counterpart, so that we could both release the codependency. I know, some of you are saying like, but you're blocked. Like, that sounds horrible. But it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like we're lacking each other. It doesn't feel like, yes, obviously it feels like we're missing each other, but it doesn't feel like we're lacking each other. It doesn't feel like a horrible thing. It feels like we are having the opportunity to heal any of that codependency, like we were having the opportunity to heal within ourselves, like we were having that opportunity. It feels like an opportunity to allow ourselves to grow so that we can come back together in a healthier connection, in a healthier reconciliation. I don't quite know how to express it. I said to her, because she's somebody who's very 3D focused, and I said to her, it doesn't feel like what it looks like. And I'm not going to look at the evidence of the 3D. Well, he's not talking to me. Well, he blocked me, so he must hate me. I don't feel that at all. That's part of the healing that I did this week, and where I allowed myself to unhook from that feeling of he doesn't care about me, of he doesn't like me, he doesn't love me, of he doesn't want to talk to me, he doesn't want to see me. It was allowing myself to accept the present circumstances of our 3D reality, but also allowing myself to fully trust in my intuition and what I had always believed in. And not a belief of, illusion, but a belief of what my intuition has always told me, what the energy has always told me. And I talked about this in the Divine Feminine reading, this Divine Feminine support reading. I'll link that in the description box, where, on this journey, especially as Divine Feminines, we go through this back and forth energy of doubt, where we have to really learn how to tune into the energy. We have to learn how to trust in our intuition above all else. And so what it really unhooked for me was where I was looking at it through, I was actually just punishing myself. I was actually just looking at it not as the reality of what he actually feels for me, but what I was perceiving he might be, or I was projecting onto him his feelings for me because I was punishing myself for behaviors of the past, especially when we were very, very young. As I'm going into detail that I don't need to go into. What I'm basically saying is I realized that whatever it looked like in the 3D, I can accept what's happening in the 3D while also holding that space for what I believe in my intuition. And what I believe in my intuition, what I believe in the energy, and what I feel and have always felt was the love that exists between us. That's what this energy feels like. This feels like you're anchored into the divine masculine energy, where you are completely connected no matter what it looks like in the physical world. And I'm just getting drawn to that. Look, you have a full moon here, and you have two people holding hands here. It looks like two young children holding hands here. You're always connected, and I feel like this full moon is highlighting that for you. No matter what it looks like in the 3D, have that sense of acceptance. Because we do. We have to accept what is presently showing itself. But we can also honor and trust in and have that inner knowing of what our intuition and what the energy is showing us, what it's telling us. It's a balance that has to be attained. And when you have that inner union between the masculine and the feminine within you, you have that sense of balance, and that's where you realize that you're not lacking anything because it's all within you. Your connection is within you. Your union is within you. Your counterpart is within you. Your counterpart is part of you. And the more you anchor into that, the more it reflects then in the physical world. But we get so caught up in, but it's not showing itself yet. It's not happening here yet. Hold that space for yourself within you. All right, let's get some more. Nope, I want to get a union card. Let's see what's going on for the union. There's a lot of energy I'm also getting that is being felt. So there might be a little bit of a void energy for the divine masculine. Again, they're a little bit withdrawn, but divine feminine, I feel like you're feeling a lot of the energy. Even if you're not feeling them as viscerally as you were previously, there's still a lot of energy moving. There's still a lot of energy shifting. There's still a lot of energy aligning. What do we need to know for the union energies, please? Nourishment. There's nothing lacking. You see that? It is so abundant. There is absolutely nothing lacking. Keep tuning in. That's where your union is. There is nothing lacking there. Let's get one of these cards first and see what is the full moon shifting presently. What is the full moon shifting presently? And then we'll look into what it has shifted later on this week. But what is the full moon shifting presently? What's the full moon shifting presently for the divine masculine? I don't want to take that one. What's the full moon shifting presently for the divine masculine? What's the full moon shifting presently for the divine masculine? All right, we're going to try this one. The other Moonology deck. Let's see if this... What's the full moon shifting presently for the divine masculine, please? Ooh. Prosperity lies ahead, moving into the new chapter, moving into the new version of your life. We have the new moon in Taurus here. There might be a little bit of a stubbornness energy, where they might be having a little bit of a hard time releasing the old and shifting into the new. Again, I'm getting the energy of that sense of direction. I may not know where I'm going, but I know where I'm headed. It's a very specific saying I'm getting. I may not know where I'm going, but I know where I'm headed. But there's a little bit of a stubborn energy mixed in with that, where there's maybe even a little bit of a, doesn't feel like pride. It just feels like a little bit of resistance, a little bit of stubbornness, where they might be a little bit afraid of what that means. Might be a little bit afraid of who that requires them to become, is what I'm hearing. So this feels more like releasing an old version of themselves, versus the physical life. I feel like they're releasing a lot within their physical life, and that has been a challenge in the past, but it feels more along the lines of who they thought they were. So, it's ego. That's what they're saying. There's some ego that's being released here. Who they thought they were, who they thought that they needed to be. I know where I'm going, even if I don't know where I'm headed. They can see that there's a change. They can see that they're changing. They can see that they're growing, but there's a little bit of unease, and that unease is leading to, that fear is leading to a little bit of a reluctance. It's not quite a resistance, it's a reluctance. But I feel like that's part of the void. I feel like that's part of this whole full moon energy. There's a lot that's shifting right now. This is why I don't really do these readings anymore on the date of the full moon, or any of these cosmic events, is because there's so much that is shifting in every given moment. And so it's kind of, the energy feels a little bit fluid, and it's hard to kind of grasp the energy and then articulate and read for the energy. Divine Feminines, you have your hard work is paying off and show the world the real you. I feel like you're really anchoring to a new version of yourself. And I feel like that's where the masculine is kind of following. Not following as in they're behind in any way, but following as in like you're anchoring in, which is helping them to anchor in. And they're anchoring in, which is helping you to really have that sense of security within yourself. It's all connected. Your masculine is you. Your inner masculine, their feminine is you, the feminine. So it's all connected here. As you're doing the work, they're doing the work. As they're doing the work, you're doing the work. So I feel like as they're anchoring more into the masculine energy, you're feeling that sense of safety and security. As you're anchoring into your masculine energy of safety and security, they're rising as the divine masculine. It's all connected. It feels a little bit convoluted to articulate, because it feels a little bit paradoxical. It feels a little bit, it's just the oneness. I don't know how to explain this. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know how to explain this. Like I said, it's hard to grasp the energy right now because everything is shifting in a beautiful way. So divine feminines, your hard work is paying off. Like you're anchoring into more of yourself and really embodying the divine you. You're really in your sense of authenticity. You're really in your sense of your expanded nature is what I'm hearing. Okay. They just pulled back from that. So let's see what's going on for the union energy. What's going on for the union energy, please, between the two? One card, please. All right, we'll take two. Your dreams need a practical plan and have faith in your dreams. Beautiful. That's the balance of acceptance and belief, acceptance and faith, where you are accepting the present reality, but you know that that's not all there is. You're really in that place and anchored into that place of knowing and faith, tuned into the energy, but you're also applying it very logically and practically. You're also in this place of acceptance. That's the balance here, and that's what creates that union. All right, let's get some cards here. I'm going to use this deck. So I'm going to use the same deck. Yeah, I'm going to use the same deck for both. How is the divine masculine feeling about the connection? The connection, or the divine feminine. How is the divine masculine feeling about the connection? Yeah, there's a lot that's shifting right now. Yeah, two cards of enlightenment and transformation. So the Hanged Man, there's this energy of illumination coming through, and that's been coming through over the past several readings as well, the past several days and weeks, where it does really feel like there's a shift in perspective. Remember when I said that everything seems kind of upside down right now, where the 3D feels very like it doesn't make sense for what it is that you're feeling in your heart. It's like the very opposite of what you're feeling in your heart or what you're feeling energetically. It's like everything's righting itself again. It had to turn upside down because that's all the illusion. The 3D is like the illusion. Not to say that it's not real, not to say that it's not, what's happening presently, but that's not all there is. Your 3D world is not all there is, and there's a lot that is shifting energetically for you because of that. So for the masculine, they're getting this illumination, they're having a shift in perspective, and again, it's creating these endings of old versions of themselves and how they even viewed the connection, how they even viewed you, Divine Feminine. There's a huge transformation that's taking place, and they're immediately pointing me to these two doors here. So where this is like the 3D, where you thought a door was closed because of what it looks like in the 3D, it's still open. Energetically, it's still open. And I do feel like the Divine Masculine is hoping for this as well. They might be focused on the 3D. They might be, that might be what's shifting for them as well. They might be saying, well, the door's closed because of this, this, and this. But energetically, it's open between the two of you. Let's get one more card. How are they feeling about the connection? Ace of Cups. Absolutely. It's open. That door is open energetically. And I do feel, you see how this cup is overflowing as well? I do feel that that's part of the shifting perspective. That's part of the enlightenment they're having. Because of such distinct and profound changes that are happening within themselves for their own soul's journey, for their own perspective and experience within themselves, it's having an effect on how they see the connection. To better clarify this, they're saying they were looking, remember how I was saying that my partner and I were looking through the wounded lens. We were kind of approaching the relationship from our pain, and that didn't bring about a healthy connection. They were looking at their life that way, through the lens of trauma, through the lens of pain, through the lens of the past. And now that they're shifting that perspective, they're no longer projecting that onto the connection and onto you. There's a more loving energy that's coming through here. The love that has always existed between you two, but that might not have always been acknowledged because of that pain, because of the past, because of the trauma, because of the distortion. And that's what's really shifting here. There's a huge shift in how they're perceiving the connection and even how they're perceiving love, which is shifting how they're perceiving the connection because you are love. Divine Feminines, how are you feeling about the connection with your masculine? You have the Three of Swords. How are you feeling about your masculine and the connection? Divine Feminines, you might still be moving through some heartbreak. You might still be moving through some heartache, but you're moving through it to a new beginning. It's this sense of liberation. You're freeing yourself from the heartbreak here. This is a moving on from the past. So if you're still in this Three of Swords energy, and some of you might be with the full moon, that's what you're releasing. Allow yourself to release the past. I'm getting the energy of like that spilled milk energy. Don't let the past stain your future. You see how there's like a spilled inkwell here? You have the power to rewrite your story. You have the power to rewrite whatever it is that you so choose. You have the power to create your next chapter and write your next chapter. Don't let the stains of the past dictate who you are now and who you want to become and what you want for your connection. So you're releasing some of that heartbreak, you're releasing some of that pain, and you have the Fool here. This might require a leap of faith. I'm also hearing forgiveness. So this might require a leap of faith into forgiveness. Where can you forgive yourself? Where can you forgive your partner? And like we channeled in the previous reading, where can you even forgive the journey? And the Star. I love that she's been coming out lately, as above, so below. This is you in that balance. This is you in that union. And this is where you create. In that union is where you create. Honoring and accepting the physical, but also trusting in your intuition, trusting in the energy. I'm also getting that this is the masculine and the feminine energies. This is where the masculine and the feminine energy merges in that union, creates in that union. Because the feminine is in that trust of the intuition, and the masculine is the one that grounds that in the physical. I had channeled a message a couple of weeks ago, and I had shared it in one of the Sacred Union Energy updates. I can't remember. If you guys know, feel free to put the link in the comments. I can't remember which it was, but it was a message of both of you need to take a leap of faith in some way. For the Divine Feminine, it's a leap of faith for trusting her intuition over the physical 3D. And for the masculine, it's to take a leap of faith as far as action within the 3D. Because the masculine energy is very grounded. They take action within the 3D. They're very, I don't want to say materially oriented, physically oriented. They're the ones who move things forward. They're the ones who lead in the 3D world. For example, the Divine Feminine might have an idea like, I'd love to go on a date. And the masculine is the one who makes the date happen, who picks her up and takes her out, or whatever this is. He takes the lead in the physical, whereas the feminine energy is the one that has the idea or the wish. That's what this energy is. It's both of you taking a leap of faith in some way. Divine Feminine, you're again taking the leap of faith to trust in your intuition over what you're seeing in the 3D, to trust in your knowing, to trust in the love. Divine Masculine, you're taking the leap of faith for that inspired action to move this forward in the physical. It's very interesting energy here. All right. Like I said, this is going to be a quick reading. We're going to end with what we need to know for each other, what you want each other to know. Let's do that. What's going on for the Divine Masculine that the Divine Feminine should know? What's going on for the Divine Masculine that the Divine Feminine should know? Talk less, feel more. Interesting. They're getting into their emotions, diving deep into their emotions. Remember when I said that they're a little bit withdrawn in hermit mode? They might not be communicating with anybody because they're processing a lot, especially when it comes to their emotions. I do feel like they're going to want to express those emotions. They're going to want to express everything that they're feeling, but not yet, not now. Because they're still processing everything that they're feeling. And I do feel like they're trying to apply logic to it. Although they're understanding that it's not a logical experience. This journey is not a logical experience. And so with that understanding, they're beginning to tune into their emotions and tune into their feelings and their heart space, especially when it comes to this connection. But I do feel like they're in a little bit of a withdrawn hermit mode right now in order to process everything that they're feeling and receiving. Again, there's some enlightenment, some shifts in perspective that's happening here. Divine Feminine, what do you need the masculine to know? Open up to change, speak your world into being. And I just love how this is, oh yeah, Gemini energy. I was just going to say how I love that you're facing each other. I feel like you want the masculine to know that you are open to reconciliation, that you are open to reunion with that growth, with that expansion that you yourself have been experiencing, Divine Feminine, with the expectation that your masculine has been going through that same process as well. And you're creating this as well. You're manifesting this as well. Like I was saying to my friend, I am completely like wanting reunion and reconciliation with my counterpart, but I would know by the energy if it's right, because I'm in a different energy. I know that he's going through a transformation, even if I can't see it in the 3D. I have no idea what's happening in his life. I have no idea what's been happening for the past 4 months in his life. But I could feel the transformation. I can feel the expansion. I could feel the energy of growth and change within myself and within him. And it depends, when the 3D rolls around, I'm going to have to tune into the energy, know that I've changed, know that I've grown, and have those boundaries for myself where I'm not sacrificing myself, where I'm not abandoning myself like I did in the past. And I take that responsibility for myself that I used to do that. But also saying, you know what, like I'm very much open to change because I've been changing within myself, but also to know, to welcome in this connection if there has been change or if there will be change, not wanting to operate in the same distorted lens or the same trauma kind of energy, that same projection of pain that we were in, but only come from this loving energy, coming from a new energy. Divine Feminine is open to change. And I want to get one more for the union energy. What do we need to know for the union energies? Again, it's a very strange energy. I'm just seeing so much energy moving fluidly around here, and it's hard to grasp. So usually it's easier to say, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. I'm not able to do that in this reading. It's like as soon as I grasp onto an energy to articulate it and bring it forth, it's shifting. So I do feel like this full moon is shifting quite a lot right now. So it's a little bit hard to do this reading, but we'll follow up in a day or two and see what has shifted. I just wanted to bring you guys something, especially in case you're struggling. Lighten up. Lighten up. Allow for that, and also work through your feelings at the bottom of the deck here as well. It's like what I was saying here. Allow the relationship to shift. Allow your connection to shift. Allow yourself to shift. Allow yourself to bring this joyful, lighthearted, loving energy back into the connection. I'm hearing vulnerability. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with each other. Allow yourself to be intimate with each other. Allow yourself to really open up your hearts, because your hearts have opened. Your hearts have expanded. Now it's time to do that in relation with each other. Now it's time to bring that to your connection. Now it's time to work with each other, not against each other. Now it's time to connect deeply and intimately and lovingly. Allow the energy to lighten in this next phase. And I feel like that's what you're releasing. You're releasing the heaviness, the intensity. I feel like you're releasing the past year, the past several years. You're releasing the past period as you move into the new. All right, you guys, how about we end with a message? That feels right. Let's end with a message. What do you want to say to each other? This is my Conversations with Counterparts deck. Divine Masculine, what do you want your Divine Feminine to know? What do you want to say? My gosh. You're not saying that much. What do you want to say to your Divine Feminine? This love overwhelms me. It doesn't feel as overwhelming as it had in the past. I feel like they're acknowledging this love. I feel like that's what this is. It's almost like this love has overwhelmed me. It has been overwhelming for me, but I feel like they're opening up to it. I feel like they're allowing themselves to feel all the feelings where they had shut down from those feelings in the past, where they had closed themselves off from those feelings, and even from you, Divine Feminines, because it had overwhelmed them. I feel like now they're opening up. They're acknowledging this. But it doesn't feel like they want to close themselves off anymore. One more for the Divine Masculine. One more for the Divine Masculine, please. That's too many. Just one more. Thank you. I feel you here with me. Yeah, I feel like they feel just as connected to you as you feel to them. All right, Divine Feminine. Let's get two. There we go. I want harmony between us. And I think about you every day. I feel you here with me. I think about you every day. You both feel each other. You both are so deeply connected. And I feel like this I want harmony between us is that's what you've always desired. But it was the intensity. It was the wounding. You had a journey to go through. This ascension journey is a process. This sacred union journey was a process that you were going through with each other. And you're both being divine mirrors, you're both catalysts for each other's growth. But sometimes that catalyzing energy was very difficult because it meant bringing up a lot of trauma, a lot of pain from the past that maybe didn't include either of you, but that you projected onto each other. You know how they have that saying of the people that you love most are the people that you lash out at more? Because you know that there is such a deep unconditional love. Not that it's fair, not that it's justified, but just that it's understood how that can happen. And I feel like there was always such a deep recognition between you two. There was always such a deep love between you two, and you always felt that. And I feel like you always even felt the undercurrent of forgiveness there as well. Um, but there was also this sense of projection and pain and intensity and whatever it was that was coming up. Even though you deeply both desired that harmony, again, this was a journey. This was a process to release, where you were mirroring each other so that you could grow, so that you could release that past versions of yourself, so that you could heal that pain, so that you could heal that trauma. It was all part of a process. And if you look back, you understand how you had to grow in that process to reach this point, this higher frequency, yes, but also this higher conscious understanding of how to heal healthily within relation to each other, how to heal within connection to each other rather than against each other, rather than in that distorted energy. There was a huge process of healing that had to take place, and I feel like now it's time to come together for that harmony. It's time to come together for that love. It's time to come together for each other. All right, you guys, let me know how this full moon is treating you. Let me know how your experiences are, and we will check in with what is shifting collectively in the next day or two. I'm sending you so much love and so much light, and we'll see you next time. Bye.